Absolutely.
All right, and we'll go ahead and get started. So I appreciate everybody joining us this morning. All right, we'll call this meeting to order. I'm David Martin, Chair of the Commission on Teacher and Administrator Education, Certification, and Licensure and Development. The Commission special call meeting is being conducted via teleconference with some Mississippi Department of Education staff members participating from Central High School, 4th floor boardroom, 359 Northwest Street, Jackson, Mississippi, 39201. Special call meeting of the Commission is being held today, Thursday, September 14th, 2023 at 10 a.m. pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 25-41-5. Notice of the meeting, which included date, time, place, and purpose of the meeting, and identified the location available to the public, has been posted. Audio recordings being made of this meeting, and minutes of the meeting will be recorded. Item 1 is our call to order, being called to order at 10:04 a.m. on Thursday, September 14th, 2023. Most of us are joining by teleconference meeting, so as we establish a quorum, please state your location and your presence for the meeting. Don't forget to unmute yourself. James Creel. Creel, absent. Rebecca Gray.
Rebecca Gray, present, Iuka, Mississippi.
William Hamilton. Hamilton, you're still on mute, I believe. Saying we have to circle back. Mary Hill Taylor.
Mary Hill Taylor, present, Choctaw, Mississippi.
Ma'am. John Howard. Kim Hubbard.
Present, Flowood, Mississippi.
Dr. Teresa J. Rowe.
Teresa J. Rowe, present, Starkville, Mississippi.
Ma'am. Dr. Burnell Kelly.
Present, Gosport, Mississippi.
Thank you, ma'am. I am present, Lincoln County, Mississippi. Dr. Teresa Poole.
Teresa Poole, present, Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Ma'am. Dr. Shelley Simmons. Zeta Taplin. Dylan Baldwin.
Present, Tupelo, Mississippi.
There. Aaron Wilson. William Murphy.
Present, Indianola, Mississippi.
There. All right. With that, let me go back. Mr. Hamilton, you joined us. William Hamilton. I will circle back with him later. He can let us know. All right, that gives us 9 by my count, so that should be enough for a quorum. So a quorum of the commission is present at the location stated for conducting a meeting through in-purpose, person, or teleconference means. Move on to item 3. Be sure to identify yourself for the record. Our adoption of the agenda. Entertain a motion to approve. Please state your name and your motion.
Kim Hubbard, motion to approve.
Thank you, ma'am. Need a second?
Second, Teresa J. Rowe.
J. Rowe, got you for a second. Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Don't forget to unmute yourself. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to item 4, approval to begin the Administrative Procedures Act process to revise Mississippi Administrative Code 7.4, Part 4, Licensure Guidelines K-12 to amend criteria regarding educator licensure preparation and other programs completed outside the state of Mississippi. Dr. Murphy.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Chairman Martin. Good morning, members of the Commission. In January of 2021, during the height of the pandemic, The State Board of Education adopted a policy, this particular policy, that now requires prospective educators seeking to obtain a license by way of a licensure track program completed outside of the state of Mississippi to first obtain licensure in the state where the preparation occurred, and then apply for Mississippi licensure via reciprocity. The policy was ultimately implemented due to Mississippians being ill-advised or not advised at all by out-of-state institutions regarding the status of their program. And what is meant by the status of their program is that Mississippi's weren't being properly advised as to whether the program led to licensure or didn't lead to licensure. This led to those that held a Mississippi license that completed a non-licensure track program outside of Mississippi in administration, for example, to basically alter documents, the required institutional program verification form that's completed by institutions, among others, and subsequently, losing their Mississippi license. In addition, Mississippians were enrolling in bogus programs at bogus institutions. And since the implementation of the new policy, institutions outside of Mississippi have now begun doing a better job at advising Mississippi residents, and most have implemented the requirement that the prospective candidates sign an attestation statement regarding their understanding that the program they're choosing to matriculate does or does not lead to licensure. And so our citizens are, we believe, in a better place than they were at that particular time in 2021. And so I want you to please note that, there's never a policy that we implement for the most part. It's never our intent to create policy that adversely affects, any party. And so while the implementation of the policy has helped to improve the Mississippi residents' experience with institutions outside of the state of Mississippi, an unintended consequence that we've actually discovered over the course of the past couple of years is the negative effect or impact that it's posing on our local school districts that recruit and employ educator preparation program completers coming to us from another state using CAPE accredited or state approved programs alone. And so the policy is currently written, doesn't allow us to grant a license to a number of candidates, and is further hampering our ability to address the shortage long faced, not only in teaching fields, but also in other hard to staff supplemental service provider areas such as professional school counseling, among others. And so as of late, we have received inquiries, of course, from licensing agencies from other states advocating for candidates who complete CAPE accredited or state approved programs throughout that are not able to transition to teaching in the state of Mississippi when returning home. Due to the policy, we are also unable to license them using, of course, their program alone. We have also received a number of correspondences regarding the policy from members of the State Board of Education, Lieutenant Governor's Office, legislators, local school districts, applicants alike. And so the policy has accomplished what we initially set out to accomplish, but again, it's hampering Mississippi's LEA's ability to hire candidates that would otherwise be eligible for a Mississippi license if we were to amend the requirements of first obtaining a license in another state. And so the recommendation before you represents an ask for your consideration for approval to change the current policy from requiring that the applicant first be licensed in the state where the preparation occurred and then apply via reciprocity, and change it to, or back to for the most part, requiring that the applicant have the out-of-state educator preparation provider in the state where the preparation occurred, complete the MDE developed institutional program verification form, and meet all other requirements that any other prospective educator completing a program in Mississippi are required to complete, and that's testing and anything else for the most part. And so that is the item that's before you today.
Or is
Okay.
that just semantics? Would that really impact it?
It's basically consistent with language that we already utilize in the guidelines, and that was the purpose for actually selecting that language that's listed there.
Okay.
I have a question if Dr. Jarrow was done. Okay, so my question, just going back to, so just for clarification purposes, the individuals who are applying for these licenses in other states, they were having difficulty adding, like getting an initial license. So, if I go to school in Alabama, you're saying that are they having like challenges adding these supplemental endorsements or getting the license in the first place in that state since they have a license in the state?
Yeah, so basically we had multiple situations, and so there are those who are serving in supplemental service provider areas, and I'll just say counseling or speech language pathology for the most part. And so because the policy doesn't allow them to apply directly, and what I mean by directly, in the past, they were able to just take a look at that standalone licensure criteria that's outlined in the guidelines manual and basically meet the criteria that are listed there. But because they're not able to do that now, and they have to get licensed in another state, and most states don't actually license SLPs or speech language pathologists with a K-12 license. They basically are able to serve with the license that they hold from another body that issues the license. And so our reciprocity requirements, we have an agreement with the K-12 license issuing authority and not necessarily the DMV for the most part. Or for instance, in Texas, there's a general body that issues licenses to everybody else and not educators, so to speak. And so they, in Texas, would fall under that general licensure. So the driver's license division, if you were to kind of Google and look up Texas, you'll find that there's a division that issue licenses in every other area except the teaching field, so to speak. So that's just one example of candidates trying to come to get initial licensure, and districts are trying to hire in a hard to staff area that we only have about maybe 1 to 2 programs in the state offer for the most part. So
I have
And
a
on the
question.
time part, I would say too, it came out about it this time because a lot of them that maybe just graduated into July 1st to August. And if you're not familiar with accreditation, we have to have everybody licensed and ready to go by the end of October through MDE. So trying to get licensed through a couple state agencies that are different states can make that difficult. And then you end up getting a letter from MDE saying, I don't have all licensed teachers, even though they've got everything. We just hadn't officially got them the license yet. So it was another hurdle that made it a bit longer, and especially if you're in a crunch trying to get them in and meet our state's standards.
I have a question.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so, and this might have been in the reading, I might have missed it, but just say a person from another state had let their license lapse, and then they want to come into Mississippi and try to get licensed. What's the procedure on that?
Yeah, so they can either reinstate the license they hold in the other state and apply via reciprocity, or if they wanted to present to us, of course, their degree, so to speak, and try to actually apply via the guidelines that are in effect, that's another option as well. And so it's opening that back up. And so right now, the only option for someone who's trying to come here with a license that's expired, they would have to go through whatever the process is to reinstate that license in the other state and then apply via reciprocity.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any further questions? Okay. We have a motion to approve, and we already had a second. That was our discussion. So we'll call for a vote at this time. All those in favor, please say aye. Don't forget to unmute yourself. Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 5, our adjournment. Again, appreciate everybody being here and making the time to do this. It'll be a big help, I know, to a lot of districts trying to get things in order. So, appreciate everybody making the time. No, let's go ahead.
We actually had a few individuals who joined late. They actually voted, but they joined late for the most part and want to make certain that we capture them as present.
So Ms. Simmons, I know you joined us late.
Present, go for it, Mississippi.
Thank you, ma'am. Who else joined? Anybody else join us late? Mr. Hamilton?
I see he's there, but.
Yeah, he gave a thumbs up while ago.
Okay, he gave the thumbs
I
up.
was gonna
for
say,
his
he
vote.
voted, he
There he
voted,
is.
so,
I
yeah,
thought I
the
saw-
thumbs up, there he is, yeah.
We can
So we'll
capture this.
assume that he's in Oxford. We'll verify that though.
All right, anybody else? Miss anybody else?
No, sir.
All right, then we'll move on to item 5, our adjournment. Take a motion for approval. Please identify yourself for the record.
Motion to adjourn, Burnell Kelly.
Thank you, ma'am. Need a second?
Second, Teresa J. Rowe.
Thank you, ma'am. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Again, appreciate everybody making time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Murphy and your group for getting that all together. All right, this time, this meeting is considered adjourned at 10:20 a.m. Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you.